The first snow of winter had fallen on Prague, blanketing the city in white and hiding its secrets beneath a layer of sparkling ice. For the flight crew, it was just another layover, a chance to stretch their legs and catch their breath before the next flight. But what they didn't know was that this seemingly ordinary stop would turn into an extraordinary adventure filled with romance, intrigue, and the magic of the season. Alex, the charismatic pilot, was looking forward to exploring the city's Christmas markets and sampling the local cuisine. Elena, the bubbly flight attendant, couldn't wait to show off her Czech language skills and soak up the festive atmosphere. And then there was Sophia, the new addition to the crew, who was still getting used to the unpredictable world of commercial aviation. As the crew stepped out of the airport into the frosty embrace of Prague, they were greeted by a sight that took their breath away. The city was alive with holiday spirit. Twinkling lights adorned every corner, casting a warm glow on the snow-covered rooftops. The sound of carolers filled the crisp winter air, creating a magical atmosphere that promised a night to remember. Sophia stood mesmerized, her breath forming white clouds in the frigid air. The beauty of the city, the magic of the season, and the excitement of a new adventure all swirled within her, making this layover feel like something straight out of a fairy tale. But as the reality of their limited time in Prague set in, a sense of urgency mingled with the excitement. They only had a few hours to explore the city, to experience its wonders, and to create unforgettable memories. And then there was Alex, whose eyes seemed to sparkle with mischief, a hint of something more dancing in their depths. His gaze met Sophia's, sending a shiver down her spine that had nothing to do with the winter chill. With a playful smirk on his lips, he gestured towards the van, indicating that it was time to start their adventure. As Alex took the front seat in the van, his presence commanding as always, Sophia found herself in the back, trying to focus on the scenery rather than the growing tension. Beside her, Lena was humming along to the holiday tunes playing on the radio, her infectious laughter echoing in the cozy confines of the vehicle. During the ride to the resort, Alex pointed out the famous landmarks, sharing interesting facts and stories about each one. "That's the Charles Bridge, a must-see. Maybe we can all go together," he suggested, his eyes twinkling with mirth. "I'd love that. What about you, Sophia?" Eleanor leaned forward, her gaze fixed on Sophia, curiosity evident in her tone. Forcing a smile, Sophia responded, "Sure, sounds great," though her mind was far from the conversation. She couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched, that every move she made was under scrutiny. It was as if the city itself was keeping secrets close to its snowy chest. When they arrived at the resort, the receptionist greeted them with a knowing smile, handing over the keys with a wink. "Enjoy your stay. The city is especially romantic this time of year," she said, her words laden with double meanings that went over Sophia's head. Blushing slightly, Sophia quickly took her key and headed to her room. Inside the warm and inviting room, Sophia unpacked her bags, hanging up her clothes and setting out her toiletries. The room was decorated in traditional Czech patterns, adding to the charm of the location. As she unpacked, she couldn't help but glance at her phone, where a message from her husband sat unread. His words, "Landed safely. Miss you all," taunted her with the life she had left behind. Should she respond? The thought of her husband waiting for her message made her fingers itch to reach out and type, but doubt held her back. What if her response reached him before she landed back home? Would it lead to questions, accusations, mistrust? She ultimately decided against it, tucking her phone away and focusing on the adventure ahead. Later that evening, in the dimly lit lounge of the resort, the crew gathered for pre-dinner drinks. The room was adorned with holiday decorations, and the soft glow of candlelight added to the cozy atmosphere. Alex was telling a story about a previous layover, his charisma drawing everyone in. His eyes twinkled with amusement, and his gestures were animated as he described the hilarious situation he had found himself in. Elena and the others were laughing, their faces illuminated by the soft light. But Sophia found herself unable to fully join in. Her laughter was strained, and her eyes were distant, as if she were a world away from the merrymaking. Elena, attuned to Sophia's melancholic aura, leaned closer. "You okay?" she whispered, concern etched on her face. Startled by the sudden intrusion, Sophia quickly composed herself. "Just tired," she replied, forcing a smile. But Elena wasn't convinced. Something was clearly troubling her colleague, and she couldn't help but wonder what it could be. As the evening wore on, Sophia found it difficult to shake off the feeling of unease that had settled upon her. The merriment of the group only served to highlight her own internal turmoil, and she retreated further into herself, seeking solace in the safety of her own thoughts. Dinner was a mix of traditional Czech dishes and international favorites. The food was hearty and flavorful, perfect for warming up on a cold winter's night. Alex, seated between Sophia and Elena, kept the conversation lively, his easy charm making it easy for the three of them to talk. But Sophia couldn't help but notice how often his eyes met hers. It wasn't just a friendly glance or a shared smile. There was something more in those intense gazes, something that made her skin tingle and her heart race. Was it possible that Alex was attracted to her? The thought both excited and terrified her. And as the meal progressed, Sophia found herself drawn into the conversation, her initial shyness melting away. She laughed, she joked, and she shared stories, feeling a sense of camaraderie with her fellow crew members. For a few hours, she allowed herself to be swept up in the moment, to enjoy the company of her friends, and to savor the taste of freedom. But as the evening deepened and the shadows grew longer, she couldn't shake off the feeling that she was being watched, that their every move was being scrutinized by unseen eyes. Then suddenly the lights went out, plunging the room into darkness. There was a collective gasp as the diners struggled to adjust to the sudden blackout. Candles were lit, laughter echoed, and soon the room was filled with the glow of candlelight once again. In the flickering light, Sophia felt a hand on her knee, firm and reassuring. She didn't know whose it was, but it sent a shiver down her spine. A comforting presence in the midst of the chaos, a fleeting touch that left her both intrigued and unsettled. When the lights returned, illuminating the room once more, the diners erupted into laughter and applause. The blackout, though unexpected, had created a sense of camaraderie, a shared experience that bound them together. After dinner, as Sophia and Elena walked outside, the biting cold of the evening embraced them. The snow crunched beneath their boots, creating a soothing melody in the quiet night. The air was filled with the scent of pine and cinnamon, and the twinkling lights of the city reflected in their awestruck eyes. They found themselves standing under the mistletoe, an ancient tradition that promised good luck and romance. Elena, ever the playful one, nudged Sophia, a mischievous grin on her face. "Well, this is cozy," she teased, her eyes twinkling with mirth. "What are the odds?" Before Sophia could respond, she felt a pair of lips on hers. It was brief but electric, leaving Sophia breathless and confused. Breaking away, Elena's cheeks were flushed, and her eyes shone with excitement. "I've wanted to do that all day," she whispered, her voice laced with a mix of triumph and playfulness. But their moment was shattered by a mocking voice behind them. "Well, isn't this cozy?" Alex drawled, amusement dancing in his eyes. "Funny, I didn't think the mistletoe was part of the view." A wave of panic washed over Sophia. She had been so lost in the moment, so caught up in the thrill of the forbidden, that she hadn't noticed Alex approaching. His words, dripping with sarcasm, were a harsh reminder of their professional boundaries, of the consequences of crossing them. As the realization dawned on her, Sophia felt her cheeks burn with shame. She had allowed herself to be swept away, to indulge in the fantasy of a stolen kiss. But now the magic of the moment had been shattered, leaving her exposed and vulnerable. The weight of her actions pressed down on her, threatening to suffocate her. She wanted to explain, to justify her actions, but words failed her. All she could do was stare at the ground, wishing she could disappear into the cold, hard concrete. Alex's gaze, usually so full of warmth and humor, now seemed cold and accusing. It was as if he was stripping her bare, laying her soul out in the open for him to dissect. She could feel his judgment weighing her down, making it difficult to breathe, to think, to feel anything other than utter humiliation. This layover in Prague, which had started off so full of promise, had taken a sharp turn. What was supposed to be a romantic adventure had become a minefield of emotions, and Sophia knew that the worst was yet to